Well, to explain that, we need to talk about how the exploit actually works. The first step is to scroll down on this video and click that subscribe button in memorial of my folded Minecraft account. Don't let nice man's ultimate sacrifice be in vain. No pressure, of course. Anywho, the general trick involves sending messages on Bedrock pretending to be from the person's account you want to ban, and then reporting it, to which Mojang and Microsoft's moderators do not check or properly authenticate. What the hacker did was set up a local world on Bedrock hosted by the reporting account. Then he used a custom Bedrock client modification that would spoof the account identity of another account, basically making it so you can log in as a different username, any username you want. So first he would open Minecraft Bedrock with his normal account, which is then authenticated as he logged in as normal. He would then start a local world on the reporter account and friend the normal account which he was about to use to spoof a different name. He would then go to join the local world, which is where the script or Bedrock client modification would modify the login packet right before it was sent, changing the packet's various details, including its Xbox account UID, its display name, and more, to the banned target's Xbox account UID and display name instead. Now, the modified login packet has been sent to the server. This is where the first oversight is. Because he had already authenticated with Microsoft when opening the game as a legitimate account, Microsoft sees the login request to the server as legitimate, but does not check to see if the account's details, including its Xbox UID and display name, are the right ones. So he would now be on his local server with his display name and ID appearing as the account he wanted to ban, which he modified the login packet to include. While cryptographically on the back end of the server, he was still logged in and authenticated as the original account, the server-side identity of the account is different and displays as the spoofed account's name instead. This is where the second oversight occurs. With the spoofed account, he could now send some offensive messages in the chat. Here is an example of what he would send. Obviously, because he was spoofing another player's username, it looks like they sent it. When he would report these messages from the spoofed account on the reporter account, Microsoft's chat moderators did not properly check to see if the person sending these messages actually sent them, merely looking at the name and the messages sent, and that's it, which is what the hacker told me. They then issue a 7-day ban for hate speech and discrimination, which because of chat reporting introduced back in 1.19, also will now ban the Bedrock account associated Java account. And just like that, the hacker can now ban any player he wants, provided he has their Microsoft and Xbox account name, which is tied to their Java account. Now, the exploit I just described to you is actually a slightly older version of the exploit that the hacker sent me, which he has used in the past, which has since been patched. This exploit was actually used last year to ban a bunch of famous German streamers and YouTubers such as Papa Platte, which is why Mojang ended up patching it. But the current method the hacker uses is very similar and is actually significantly easier and based on the same premise. You see, instead of spoofing the name on the server, he spoofs the name in the actual report. So he joins a local world on two accounts, a reporter account and another account. Using the other account, he sends a bunch of offensive messages and then reports the account. However, he then intercepts the report packet, which is sent in-game through Bedrock, and modifies it, changing the username of the player who sent the offensive messages to the one he wants to ban. Now the report log is sent with a different username, and Minecraft report moderators once again do not properly validate the logs, just checking the username and messages sent and banning based off that. Somehow it's even easier than the initial patched exploit, which only makes Minecraft's report system seem even more incompetent. Despite Microsoft seeming to catch on with even Jeb mentioning they would be looking into this exploit, the hacker has found ways to slightly modify his method to continue
Hello there and welcome back to another video. In today's video, I'm going to be playing around with EEP, and once it arrived, I installed it and routed its cable out of one of the removable covers on the system's chassis. And boom, just like that, we've got a full-size PCI switch, which was special because it's a dual pole switch, meaning that I can switch two independent signals at the same time with it. This is important because I wired the switch so that one of the poles switched my bench power supply's connection to the PC, and the other pole of the way of knowing if this GPU was being recognized by the system. Regardless, I did try switching is not going to work for me, but thankfully there's still hope, as you can probably recall that the second port option for a GPU was the M.2 E key slot. This slot will probably only provide a single lane of PCIe Gen 2, but it's more than zero and should theoretically work for this application. That is, if this slot actually has a PCIe lane wired up. I say that because these slots often also support USB. Some Wi-Fi cards only use USB instead of PCI Express when in these slots. Usually, whether a slot like this supports its full spec or not wouldn't be too important of a question, but because of how integrated the system is, with seemingly every single part being completely purpose-built and designed for this specific unit, it's very possible that the engineers could have skipped wiring the PCIe lanes for the slot if they were only planning to use a USB Wi-Fi card. After spending way too long researching this, because of how integrated the system is, with seemingly every single part being completely purpose-built and designed for this specific unit, it's very possible that the engineers could have skipped wiring the PCIe lanes for the slot if they were only planning to use a USB Wi-Fi card. After spending way too long researching this and trying to figure out what the slot supported, I concluded that it probably supported PCIe. This is a conclusion that I should have come to earlier because the Wi-Fi card showed up under LSPCI, meaning that it was actively using the PCIe lane in the slot. So the answer was right under my nose. But anyway, M.2 E-key to PCI Express X16 adapters were just as expensive as the MPCIe to PCIe X16 adapter, that being about 40 bucks. And frankly, I didn't want to pay that. So I bought an M.2 E-key to M.2 M-key adapter instead, with the idea that I could daisy chain off of that with my M.2 M-key to PCIe X16 riser that I already have. So I removed the Wi-Fi card and its antennas and installed the E to M-key adapter. This adapter is pretty cool as well because it doubles back on itself, so instead of converting the slot and then making the new M-key card continue to jut out in the same direction as the E-key slot faced, it actually turns around, which in this case is super helpful because of how cramped it is in here. After all the adapters were installed, I closed the computer up as much as I could and began to create the janky setup once more. This time, I kept the wiring a bit simpler and just controlled the GPU power and PC power separately, but man, this is still pretty messed up. But not so messed up that it won't post. With my test Quadro K4200 installed, literally first try, the system displayed out of the GPU without complaint. Success. And so I switched the Quadro out for the 3070, got drivers installed, and started gaming. So real quick, let's talk gaming performance, because why not? I had MSI Afterburner record the performance numbers, might as well go through them. Starting out with Minecraft again, I could actually play at a decent render distance this time, that being the standard 12 chunk simulation distance with a 16 chunk render distance, and I was able to get a solid average frame rate of 57.
Dude, how come I didn't see this? These drones in Texas look tough.